The movie starts in Belgium in 1994, where soldiers are getting ready for a fight. Captain Jack gets information that he finds odd but accepts it and walks out with his sergeant. They don't agree with the orders because it is telling them to push on into Germany, and they don't think that is a good strategy. Later on, some of the soldiers are sneaking through the woods when Sergeant tells everyone to stop. They all stop, but it was just a deer in their way, so they keep going. They get to an open area and stop to prepare themselves, but Sergeant doesn't like it because it leaves them open to attacks. Just as they were about to move, someone shot at them and a lot of their soldiers got shot. The enemy knows their position, and they are losing men very quickly, and they need to ask fast. They try to fight back, but the enemy has cannons shooting at them. The only way to beat them is to find the flank, so Sergeant and Jack sneak around the enemy to attack them from the side. When they see them, Jack steps out and attacks the enemy soldiers, killing them all quickly. He keeps going and Sergeant follows him, but Jack has taken care of them all, except one who shoots Sergeant in the chest. Jack tries to keep Sergeant alive, but it's too late, and he dies. Later in France, all the soldiers are gathering in the camp while Jack is met by Major Redding, who recognizes that the orders were not right, and they shouldn't be blamed for losing so many soldiers. Jack was demoted for the incident, but Redding knows that he is a good leader, especially in tough situations. He wants him to lead a group of men for a special mission. Jack tried to decline the offer, but Redding was insisting on it. He introduces him to Captain Hans of the French Foreign Legion. Redding wants him to get back in the fight because he is good enough to deserve a second chance, and if he does this, he will be cleared of all charges put against him, so he agrees to go on the mission. Hans hands Jack a file on the soldiers he will be leading, the War Pigs. The next early morning, some of the soldiers have stolen some eggs from a farm and the farmer comes shooting, so they run away. They later cook the eggs and get some terrible food that they all must eat. They are playing cards as they have some breakfast. Shank introduces the new kid to everyone. They warn the new guy, William, to not be eager to fight because war is a terrible thing. Then they hear the news that a new officer is coming. Hans and Jack are making their way to their soldiers as they talk about their past. Jack finds a soldier and asks to point him toward the War Pigs, but he warns him about them because officers usually die quickly with them. Jack and Hans meet their soldiers. Immediately, August and Jack argue because August isn't showing him enough respect, so he tells them to just follow orders, but Jack wants to teach them a lesson for being disrespectful, but Hans stops him and they leave them. Later on, the men are talking about the possible dangers of serving under Jack, since he takes orders from Redding, who's known for dangerous tactics. Jack and Hans are having a conversation about the men. Jack isn't sure about them following orders, but Hans knows the only way that will happen is if Jack earns their respect. The reason Jack is in trouble with the army is because he got some men killed in the previous battle, but he was only following orders even when he knew they were wrong. He only took the fall because someone higher than him doesn't get in trouble. Hans thinks they're here to look for Hitler's secret weapons across enemy lines. Early in the morning, Jack bangs some metal cans to wake up his soldiers. They're not happy about it, but they have to get up. August is still arguing with Jack and doesn't seem to be taking any of this seriously. August tries to insult Jack by mentioning his previous mission, but Jack punishes the whole squad by making them run 3 miles uphill. They can't seem to handle it, but he's forcing them to go. They get to the end and are given sandbags to carry the rest of the way. Hans is teaching them to use communication devices, but the soldiers are making a joke out of everything. Hans and Jack try to be civil, but the men just make things worse. Jack gives them all some things to memorize to communicate better using radios, and then continue with the tough training. Later, they are asked to draw a bowl of fruit, but when they complain, Hans brings out a beautiful woman for them to draw instead, and that gets them all excited. Hans later teaches them how to disarm landmines, and also tells them to be careful with them because German designs are very dangerous. When August gets snarky with Jack again, Hans tells them it's time to move on to the next exercise. He gets them to carry those bags again up the hill. Later, they learn how to disassemble and put together a German weapon, and they learn pretty quickly. That night, as the men are on watch duty, they are starting to warm up to their new leader, but they're still not confident about making it back from the mission. The next day, they are learning rope climbing. One by one, they make their way across the river using just their body and one rope. But then Hans throws a live grenade in the water, but Frenchie keeps going until the second grenade hits and he falls down in the water. Now it's time to learn the art of fighting with a knife. Hans is trying to teach them, but they think they have better skills. Preacher now has to show his skills, so he gets the knife and squares up to Hans. He tries to hit him, but Hans throws him down quickly, getting him angry. But when he charges at him again, Hans makes quick work of Preacher. He gets them all paired up, and Jack picks August to teach him a lesson, and he beats him down again and again, but he lifts him up in the end. After the training, he gives them their new patches and tells them that the orders are in for their new mission. They don't know what it is exactly, but they will be going behind enemy lines. The next day, day, Redding arrives at the command building to meet with Hans and Jack about their mission. They are to find a German millipede gun, a wonder weapon that's a 300-foot barrel cannon that can shoot across hundreds of miles. They are sure because its shot hit some soldiers in Monte Cristo, but the cannon was stationed all the way in Rome. He gives them some pictures of the cannon's components to make it easier to locate. He gives them a location, but it is very deep into enemy territory, but Jack thinks they can get it done. Redding knows it won't be easy, but he just wants them to gather information and come back as quickly as they can. Jack tells the troops about the cannon and that they are going to gather intelligence on it, but the location is deep in enemy lines. August is still not sure about it, but Jack assures them they won't be doing anything more than gathering data. They start to drive to their mission, and Jack promises Moffat that he will see his wife again. They're getting closer and closer because they can see the enemy planes flying over them. They take cover to avoid being seen by the planes, but it might already be too late. They decide to get out of the cars and go on foot. When August tries to complain, Jack puts him in the scouting team to go ahead and check the trail. The lieutenant says the cannon should be to the west of Hill 314. August and one soldier are already out there, and they need 2 more scouts. Preacher says he'll go immediately. He's told to walk to the end of the road, stay low, watch for any signs of the enemy, and hurry back if he sees anything. While crossing the road, the lieutenant and 2 others spot a big cannon in the sky, about 600 feet up, and it looks like it's working. After they finish their task, the lieutenant tells them to get out of there. The sergeant asks if that's everything they need to report, and they say yes, which is a bit confusing. Moffat is doing a great job digging in the captain's zone. Preacher warns everyone that German tanks are coming down the road as he runs through the group. If the enemy sees them, they'll be in trouble. They're now moving quickly in the dark, trying to avoid the dangers that are right in front of them. Meanwhile, the Germans are walking calmly, while the soldiers are scared. The Germans shout and throw a hidden grenade when they catch the soldiers. At the same time, the lieutenant is hit by the grenade and falls down, hurt by the blast. A German soldier has joined 2 others in their armored vehicle. Then, 2 big armored trucks show up where the captain and his soldiers are hiding. The captain thinks it's just a regular checkup because they stopped right where they are. The soldiers, hiding and tired, notice a German soldier coming closer because of the smoke from a cigarette. When the German sees their vehicle, the captain quickly grabs his gun. At the captain's order, they shoot at the enemy. Suddenly, they're in the middle of a fight. A soldier from their side throws a grenade at the Germans as bullets fly back and forth. The captain steps out of the bushes and shoots at the enemy in the car. He throws another grenade at them, and it looks like they're losing men. Bullets are flying everywhere. The captain fights with a German soldier and finally shoots him. He's the last enemy left. The captain looks for more enemies to shoot, but then he feels pain in his stomach. He sees blood when he looks down. A fellow soldier comes over and asks if he's okay. The captain sees 2 enemy soldiers running away and tells the soldier to catch them. He cries out softly in pain as his stomach turns red. The lieutenant, lying in the jungle, gets up after being hit by a grenade. He sees 2 German soldiers running away, and his soldiers quickly take them down. When he gets back to his group, he tells them that 2 of their men, August and William, were caught by the Germans. They rush back to their team. When they get there, they see the captain getting help for his injury. He asks the captain if he's okay with worry. He tells the captain that they saw the millipede cannon not far from them, and it's working. They plan to go into the German base and rescue their friends. Just a little while later, they put on German uniforms to save their friends who were caught. They also get a camouflaged German tank. The captain tells them there's an equal chance they might survive or not, and then they start moving in the tank. Meanwhile, August and William are tied up. The Germans are asking them why they're on their land. William makes a joke, and a German soldier hits him hard in the face. The rest of the men are in the tank, heading into the German base. They get through the security without any problems. The lieutenant tells his men to stay alert. Back where William is, he's getting hit again, which hurts him. The German soldier wants to know what weapon he's hiding. William makes another joke and gets punched hard. Then he fights back, knocking down the German soldier. He uses a piece of sharp wood to fight off the German. When the lieutenant comes back to get his men, he finds a map of the cannon and takes it. A German soldier offers him a light for his cigarette, but he knocks him out instead. Then he sees some of his men in trouble. Jack fights back quietly with his knife. William makes a joke to August about their training. He fights off the German soldier quickly. Some of the men are tired, but Jack fights really hard. He defeats the last enemy. They fight their way out of the place. The lieutenant gives his knife to the sergeant so he can get free. They hear the Germans are going to test a big cannon. The lieutenant and his men leave, but one of the Germans he knocked out comes back and starts a fight. The Germans and the war pigs start a big battle. They keep shooting non-stop. The soldiers start throwing grenades at the enemy. It's a very tough fight. The lieutenant runs to the tank and climbs up quickly. When they stop the tank, he tells the captain to aim the big gun at the target. The enemies run away happily when the captain fires a strong shot. When the colonel gets back to his group, he tells them the big map of the cannon will make everyone happy. He promotes the lieutenant, saying he did a great job and will be an even better leader. The story ends with the lieutenant going back to camp and telling his soldiers they're the best. They all cheer and celebrate their victory. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.